Hello, everybody. Welcome to Monday. I hope you're having a wonderful Monday. And welcome to everybody watching on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Twitch. This is the third week in a row. We're starting out with this new segment that I dubbed Refueled. Because if you guys don't know and you're new to the company, every single week on Thursday, we come out with a brand new podcast, Fueled by Deathcast, brand new episode every single Thursday, and have some amazing guests on the show. The show's actually in its fourth season right now, but you can catch everything up on Apple and Spotify and wherever podcasts are found. And I thought, it'd be fun on a Monday. Mondays are usually dreary and, it's not that entertaining to give you guys some entertainment and to go dive back through the archives each week to some of our favorite moments and some of our favorite guests and play some stuff that isn't even Fueled by Deathcast, like this one today. And again, if you're new to the company and new to Deathwish Coffee in general, welcome to Deathwish Coffee. We are the makers of the world's strongest. I'll correct myself. We are the makers of the strongest coffee in the galaxy because we've been to space twice. And let me know where you guys are tuning in from, whether it's Facebook, Twitch, or YouTube. Let me know where in the country or in the world that you're there. Hello to everybody that I'm seeing pop up. In fact, I got an update on this program that we use to push this out live. As you know, I can put some of your comments in live as they happen, but now they've got your profile pics too, which is pretty rad. Like Nate Franks over there saying Java's life. Horns up. Java is life. It really is. I need a lot of coffee every single day. Another thing I've been seeing this a lot lately. I'm gonna call you out, Richard from Facebook over here. Wait, let me see if I can. Oh gosh, there we go. Peek at new mug. If you guys don't know, Deathwish Coffee here, we love making mugs, and we work with an incredible company named Deneen Pottery that makes hand-thrown mugs for us. And normally we come out with oodles of them every single year. And this year, like everything in the world, our mug releases have been put on pause. But you guys will be happy to know that we have a mug coming up very soon. And if you tune in Wednesday during the normal live that I do here on Deathwish Coffee on Facebook, you guys might find out some details about our next mug. I don't know. Maybe you will. Maybe you will. But anyway, so as I was mentioning, this week was a brand new episode of Fueled by Deathcast, like every single week. And I had on business leader and coach Jim Cockrum. And Jim Cockrum wrote an incredible book called The Silent Sales Machine, which is all about like how to start a business, the best practices to start a business, and not to be scared of putting your business on the internet, and tips and tricks to grow your business on the internet. So, that being said, one of Jim's biggest success stories was actually our very own CEO, Mike Brown. When Mike was starting the company of Deathwish Coffee, he actually read Jim's book, reached out to Jim, and was part of a couple of his conferences and learned a lot from him. And some of those practices literally made Deathwish what it is today. And it was really cool to talk with Jim. And that is the most recent episode of the podcast. Again, if you guys don't know about the podcast, it is Fueled by Deathcast. Comes out every single Thursday on deathwishcoffee.com, but also on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. And you can find every single episode at deathwishcoffee.com/deathcast. Now, it got me thinking because I was talking to Jim. Mike Brown, I've had on the show every single year. In fact, normally this time of year is when I get Mike back on the show. And we just got back to our offices. We're working, basically almost full capacity now. Some of us are still working from home. As you can see, a lot of times when I record, I still have to record from home because we're still getting the offices set up. But we're back. We're back in there, and I've been starting to turn my wheels of how I can actually have Mike on the podcast again because I have to do it every single year. I love catching up with Mike about, the what Deathwish Coffee's been up to, what's been in his head, because he always has something crazy to talk about. And he's been on the show 3 times, and we're going to show you guys a clip today from the 3rd time he was on the show, and you can find that entire episode, deathwishcoffee.com/Mike Brown 3. You can find every single episode. You can just work backwards. Mike Brown 2 and and Mike Brown. And the first time he was on the show, Dustin and I it was so new. The podcast was so new. We were just talking about, Death Wish Coffee in general and, being on the podcast. And the second time Mike was on the show was right after we went to space for the first time. So we were talking about that. And then last year, I got to sit with Mike and talk to him about how Death Wish has grown and ask him some questions I've always wanted to ask him and ask him some questions from you guys as well. And one of those questions I always wanted to ask him was, a lot of times when you're starting a business, especially something as crazy as a new coffee company, there's got to be that aha moment. There has to be that eureka moment. And I was always curious because I never heard Mike talk about that. So I asked him, and he actually told me his eureka moment, the moment where he was like, I think this is a really good idea. I think this is a business that I could make happen, and I'm going to give it a shot. So you guys are going to see that clip, and I'll be in the comments too if you have any questions or comments or anything. I'll be interacting during these clips. But I got something really special to show you after that clip. After the clip of Mike talking about his eureka moment for Death Wish Coffee, I'm going to show you a few clips of Mike talking about the origins of Death Wish Coffee itself when we were a part of talks at Google. We got to go down to New York City and tour the Google facility. This was, 3 years ago now? 2 years ago. 2 or 3 years ago now. And it was incredible getting to walk on their New York City campuses and see how Google works from the inside. And it was amazing because the guy who was running the talks at Google at the time, Matthew Hendershot, who's actually the editor of our podcast now, was moderating all the talks at Google and invited us there to do a talk in front of all the Googlers, which was so much fun to talk coffee and just everything, all business and Google and everything in front of all these Googlers. So there's some really fun clips from our talks at Google in this look back, this Refueled as well. So without further ado, let's all tuck in and get entertained this Monday from our very own CEO of Death Wish Coffee, Mr. Mike Brown.
Fueled by Deathcast.
And that kind of leads me into a line of questions we got from our incredible community. We have this community on our social media channels, especially on Facebook, on that official Death Wish Coffee community page over there on Facebook, which is, I think, almost like 4,500 people now, which is just insane. It's just like, it's crazy to even think about it. And they're all so amazing because it's just all brought together for a love of this little product that you came up with.
I know, but it's even though I came up with it, I don't know. I feel like it's not my product anymore. It is. It is their product.
Yeah.
It is your product. It's a team's product.
Yeah.
I kind of get when I get credit for it, I almost feel like very sheepish and almost like, I don't know what the word is. It's actually I was just reading something in a book where it was very like. It's like the difference. I'm not even going to try to say it. But anyways, it was basically the guy who starts the company really has nothing to do with the success of it. It's the combined force of everything around it. The market conditions, the customers, the team that's developed, a lot of timing. So it basically just said like the CEO and the founder basically has nothing to do with the success of the company or how a product does. And I don't know, that made a lot of sense to me. So
that's
thank you guys and thank you, Jeff, and the team. So
oh hell yeah! And that kind of what I want to start with is a question from Michael Korenberg on Facebook, and actually it's not just Michael. I saw this from multiple people, and it was, what caused the creation and founding of Death Wish Coffee? Now, I want to preface this by saying we have talked about this before. On this very podcast, we also got the incredible chance to do a talk at Google. Remember that?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That was a lot of fun. And you can find
Google
that right. Yep, you can Google our talks at Google, and we break down, we really go into depth about really the creation of it. But I always think it's great to kind of have fresh eyes on it. Can we do like kind of like the cliff notes of the creation?
Hopefully I don't keep changing the story. No, I'm just kidding. No, it was pretty simple. I owned a coffee shop in Saratoga Springs called Saratoga Coffee Traders that I bought in 2008. And I ran that into the ground pretty quick. Didn't know how to run a business. But I did learn a lot of valuable lessons. In 2011, I was making things meet. Making ends meet for a while, but I did have to borrow money from my mom and have some lifestyle changes. But
No more Guitar Hero.
yeah, exactly. No more Guitar Hero. Had to sell a few things. But anyways, around 2011, I started reading up on. Oh no, actually, let me preface that. My customers would always come in and ask for the strongest coffee, right? And then I decided to get online. I Googled, what is the world's strongest coffee? There was nothing out there. At that point, I was like, well, Christ, I've been working in this coffee shop for so long and it hasn't really been that busy. So I've been doing a lot of research and I know how to make a strong coffee. Put together the strongest coffee I could find, tried it out on my customers. They liked it, gave me great reviews. And at the same time, this is what I was going to say before, at the same time, I was like reading up on e-commerce and studying because I needed to like make ends meet and I needed to make like a couple bucks online. I think I need to make like $5,000 a month to make ends meet at the coffee shop. So once I had this product that the customers were raving about in my coffee shop, I, made this website and made this brand. It actually looks totally different.
Oh yeah,
back then than it does now. But
you can find those original logos online. Yeah,
it's kind of embarrassing. But anyways, I started selling it online and got some great reviews. And then it just started it really started as like I don't even know how to describe it. Almost like a very, very slow process of we sold one bag of coffee. A month later, we sold another bag. A month later, we sold two. But the good thing was, the sales kept coming in and they kept coming in at a quicker rate and they started to snowball a bit. And I think the most surprising thing for me and the moment when I knew I had something special was the reviews I was getting from the customers, how, this coffee was changing their lives and it was like the best coffee they ever had. And I was hearing things from the online communities that I was hearing from my customers in the store. And I was like, all right, this, now we have something here. And that's how it started.
And then it
like
just
a slow progression,
snowballed from there. A question I never asked you: how long was the mad scientist moment for you with this product? Because you were figuring out not only how to start a business, but you were also figuring out how to come up with this incredible blend of coffee. And so how long did it take you from ideation to getting to the point where you have the recipe that became Death Wish coffee? Do you know that?
Do I know it off no, I don't. Let me think. It wasn't that long.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it was that long.
Was it a eureka moment?
It was probably a few weeks. I knew enough about, I knew what, actually, there was a eureka moment.
Really?
Yes, thanks for bringing that up. When I was in, I think it was Boston. It was Boston or Seattle at the SCA conference. Yep. I was walking the floor, and the SCA conference is a Specialty Coffee Association conference, and they have this big trade show once a year where they have different farmers come in from different countries with their coffee beans, packaging. It's a giant trade show with anything coffee you'd ever imagine. Oh, there's just one aisle where there really wasn't much going on, and I was walking down it, and they had this table, looked just like this, a table, and the people behind it were from India, and they had this Indian Robusta coffee, and I had heard Robusta coffee is it's more than double the caffeine. It doesn't taste very good, and you hear all these things, and it's like it's not even specialty coffee, and you hear all these bad things about it because at the time the whole specialty third wave coffee movement was kind of shitting on Robusta coffee. Yeah. Even though it has some very, very great qualities. It's high in antioxidants. It's easily grown. It's resistant to disease. It's, it has a lot of good things about it. Anyways, we're up to this table, and they had some air pots out. I tried it, and it was the best coffee I had at the entire show. And I was like, oh, at least for me. Everyone's taste is different. And I'm like, oh, this is fantastic. And then, I think as I was leaving that show, I put two and two together. Okay, I'm trying to make this strong coffee for my customers. This is the strongest coffee I've had here, and it tastes amazing. I'm like, I'm going to contact these people. And actually, I don't think I went through them because their product wasn't organic and fair trade, but I found an organic and fair trade supplier of a very similar bean. And that's pretty much when Death Wish started, once I got those in.
Please welcome to the stage the Death Wish Coffee Company. This is the welcome screen. Death Wish Coffee is known online as the world's strongest coffee.
Yes.
How do you qualify and quantify what that means to be the world's strongest coffee?
Yeah, I was never focused on caffeine at the outset. It was always about taste and flavor. Caffeine Informer and a few other publications online deemed us the world's strongest coffee with caffeine levels, but I don't know. Personally, I don't like to focus on that just because you can brew coffee stronger by just adding more coffee and using less water. So to me, it was all about flavor and good flavor, and you know and everything that when I drink a cup of coffee in the morning, I want to wake up.
Right.
You know, I want it to hit my taste buds and have my eyes just shoot open. That's what I focus on. That experience. But going back to your question. Like I said, I don't like to focus on the caffeine, but the caffeine does have something to do with it. And because we use Robusta beans have between 2 and 3 times the typical caffeine content of Arabica beans. We do naturally get more caffeine in our coffee.
And that's a big part of it, right? Because one would think that it would be easy to make a new world's strongest coffee. You just go make a coffee and then find a bunch of caffeine and
Add
add
some caffeine, yeah.
So, but that's not really what's going on. You guys have brewed this batch of beans and roasted it in such a way to just naturally get this effect without having to force it.
Yep, it's organic, it's fair trade, there's no additives, we don't add any caffeine to it. It's just, pure coffee. And that's, we're purists, believe it or not, and we love we love just straight black drip coffee.
Sure. So you find this niche and you say, okay, I can start, people are demanding a certain thing from me, the strongest coffee, high caffeine, but also really bold flavor. We got that. We want to get it out to the people. So you left brick and mortar behind and just said, we can do this via the web.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I still own my coffee shop right now. It's doing better, thank God. Yes, we took a stab at the online market because my customer was like, hey, why don't you try selling this online? And I was like, all right, I'll try. And I sold the bag via Google Ads. That's how I sold my first bag. And they said, and I got my first good review. And the guy was like, I still remember his name, Phil Broughton, out of Oakland.
Hi, Phil in Oakland.
Yeah, I felt out of Oakland. Bought the first bag, and he gave me a good review. He's like, this is some strong coffee, and it's some of the best coffee I ever had. And from there, that review leaded up to another sale and another sale. So I was selling basically 1 pound a week, and then 2 pounds a week, and 3 pounds a week. And all of a sudden, it just snowballed into this company where it was me at first, me and one of my ex-baristas, Megan. And then one day, Good Morning America gave me a call. And they're like, hey, we heard about your coffee online. We want to open the show with it tomorrow. Can we come up and interview you? And I was like, at that moment,
ponder that for a second.
You'd think I would say yes immediately, but I don't know. There's that. It was I don't know. For me, it was a brave step because I knew I wanted it, but I didn't know if I was ready. But I was just like, yes. And they came that day. I'm like, when are you going to come? I was thinking a week or 2. They're like, we'll be there in 3 hours. So Good Morning America showed up at my store in 3 hours. I closed the store. I cleaned it up. And they interviewed me. And the next morning, they opened Good Morning America, drinking Death Wish coffee in our mugs. And Sam Champion was a weatherman at the time. And he was our coffee expert. And he said, this is some great coffee. And then from there, orders took off. I didn't have enough coffee, enough bags, enough people. And that's how I basically hired everyone. It's just because it was just me at the time. And I was like, oh my God, I have all these orders that I have to fulfill. Where am I going to find people to help me do this? So I went to my customers in my coffee shop, and I literally asked my customers, can you help me fulfill these orders? And that's and that's where everyone, that's where it started, and that's where I found the greatest people.
There's a clear style to the identity of the company. I mean, obviously, it's a bold step to call yourself Death Wish Coffee. Why would you want to actively drink something that is threatening your life? But that sort of.
Do you want to hear the story behind that?
I do, absolutely.
So the whole thought of the name and the image of the coffee is, I was, when I was coming up with Death Wish Coffee, I was sitting it was at night. So imagine me sitting in a room at night. It's dark out. All I have is this computer screen in front of me. And I was in my second floor apartment, and poor, as broke as a joke. Like I was so poor, and I'm like, I had this product in mind, and like, how do I put this on a screen? And I looked down at this can. I was drinking a Four Loko at the time, right?
That doesn't say it.
Yeah. I was drinking a Four Loko at the time, and on the koozie I had on it had a picture of this mean dog, and my girlfriend had bought me this koozie when she went away on vacation, and it said Death Wish under it. And I'm like, oh, I mean, that's a pretty cool like name. I could go with that for a name of this coffee. And I'm like, what would I want to see if I walked into somebody's kitchen? Like, if I saw a bag of coffee, what would I pick up and look at and be intrigued by? And I had this image of a poison bottle, like an old school, like poison vial. Like, you'd pick up and be like, what kind of coffee are you drinking with this poison label on it? And that was the whole concept behind it. And I was like, Death Wish, poison vial, this could work. So, I did I went into Photoshop and Photoshopped some stuff around. And so I got the preliminary logo. It's not the logo it is now. I pointed at my wrist because I actually have the logo on my wrist, which is just a temporary tattoo.
There are tattoos.
But
I do have tattoos of it.
Yeah, it was that poison logo. That's the whole image I had in my brain at the time.
Wow. So that was that. And like we said at the beginning, if you want to check out that full Talks at Google, you can Google that. That's on YouTube. It's also on Google's website. That was a lot of fun sitting at Google and talking with them. And yeah, you learn a little bit about the origins of Death Wish right from the CEO, Mike Brown. And one of the things I had never heard that story that he added the Four Loko in there. So I guess we were originally fueled by Four Loko. I don't know. Hey, you make some questionable decisions late at night, right? Like, I get it. But that was a lot of fun. And if you guys are curious about more from Mike Brown, you can go check out from that clip at the beginning, the Eureka clip. That full episode is available at deathwishcoffee.com/MikeBrown3. He's been on the show 3 times, so if you type in deathwishcoffee.com/MikeBrown2 or just Mike Brown, you'll get that first and second time as well. Every single episode of the podcast can be found at deathwishcoffee.com/Deathcast. New episodes come out every single Thursday and on Deathcast, but also on Apple and on Spotify, wherever you like to listen to podcasts. And, I've been really having a lot of fun kind of diving back into these older episodes and showing you guys some stuff and being in the comments, being able to answer your questions. It's funny. I'm trying to type away as I'm watching it, and some of your questions just get answered like as they happen, but I'm trying to give you guys some little bit behind the scenes too, as like we keep doing these, and maybe some clips that never aired. And if you have any past guests that you'd like to see from a Refueled and maybe get some stories from interviewing them or some behind the scenes stuff, let me know. Hit up at Fueled by Deathcast on any social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or just let me know what you'd like to see. And hope you guys have a wonderful Monday. Again, this is just something that we're trying to do just to put a little bit of entertainment into your Monday. It's a dreary Monday here in upstate New York, and I look forward to being able to do these with you guys. So once again, thanks so much. Don't forget to tune in Wednesday. Every Wednesday I go live at 3 p.m. and give you guys some updates on new products coming out from Death Wish Coffee. And this week, if I get the okay, I'm going to give you details on the next mug release from Death Wish Coffee. So fingers crossed for that. And, here's a great question. Here's a great question as I was just putting this out. Eddie Thomas, I'm going to put you up here over on Facebook, says, have you ever had DKM on the pod? I definitely have. Dropkick Murphys has been on the podcast just one singular time, yet we did a couple other fun things on our YouTube channel with them. But you can find our interview with Ken Casey. I think that was in season 2. But that'd be a good one to put up in one of these Refueleds as well, because I got a lot of memories working with Dropkick, which is a lot of fun. So again, hope you guys have a wonderful Monday. Stay tuned for the rest of the week. We'll be back on Wednesday with another live, and Thursday with a brand new episode of the podcast this week. And goodbye, everybody. Hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. Stay caffeinated. Mugs up.